presentation from Bonnie King, Friends at Your Metro Animal. Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you, Mayor Geyer, council members. As the mayor indicated, my name is Bonnie King, and I'm a volunteer photographer at the Metro Animal Shelter in Puyallup on 39th Avenue Southeast. This is the shelter that's operated in partnership between the City of Puyallup and the City of Sumner's Police Department. But it serves 7 cities in Pierce County, including Pacific. These cities total nearly 100,000 people, so that also means a lot of animals. I've been volunteering at the shelter for about 3 years now, and I've been so impressed by the staff and the quality of care for the animals that I really wanted to do more. And I see some of you are looking at the brochure that has to do with the nonprofit group that another volunteer at the shelter and I started because of that. Metro is a public shelter, and it's supported by the municipalities. And because of that, it's not always able to get grants or to fund certain needs at the shelter. So for that reason, Chris and I, last year in June, we were fortunate enough to finally get the paperwork done, and we got our 501c3 nonprofit declaration just in June of last year. And we've been very busy ever since. It's like starting a nonprofit is similar to starting a small business. And some of you can probably identify with that when it comes to the paperwork and the marketing efforts that are necessary. So I'm here this evening to share with you what we've done so far, what our goals are, how you can help us, and answer any questions that you might have. In terms of the business side of things, just since June of last year, we've established our 5-member board of directors and bylaws, created a mission statement, developed a strategic plan. We established our website, which is www.faymas.org, and a Facebook presence. And again, the name of the organization is Friends at Your Metro Animal Shelter, but it's much easier to remember, FAMOUS. We meet with the City of Sumner's liaison, Jessica Koulis, and I've attended one of the Metro Operations Board meetings, and that's where I was introduced to Chief Calkins, because the chief of police from each city or the representatives come to these meetings on a quarterly basis to discuss policy and procedures. But my interest in maintaining connections with these folks is to make sure that our funding priorities are in alignment with the needs of the shelter. FAMOUS is a membership organization. It's membership that helps the membership fees, and donations certainly help us pass money through to the shelter. Corporate sponsorship per year is $250 and also includes advertising in an annual animal shelter calendar that we first published last year. General membership is $20 and students and seniors are $10 a year. At present, we have 73 members, which is really pretty good considering we just started asking members to join us in October of last year. We have our first annual meeting coming up in a couple of weeks at the Puyallup Library on March 14th. So, in this short time, what have we actually done for the animals? Well, we did create the 2015 Animal Shelter Calendar, in which are featured animals, well, there's some people in here too, but most of the pages are animals that either have been housed or helped by the shelter. Because I'm one of the photographers at the shelter, I certainly have access to a lot of photographs. This particular calendar, because of sponsorships for each of the calendar pages, before it was even printed, raised about $3,000. And then donations came in once the calendars were available, and they're still available, by the way, at the shelter and through me for $10. And that raised another couple $1,000. So we were able to help fund, well, we're still in the process of collecting some more money, but we're replacing all of the cat kennels at the shelter. And then by the end of the year, because of memberships and other donations, tax-deductible donations, I might add, that came in by year end, in total, we were able to pass through to the shelter about $7,400. The replacement of cat kennels, believe it or not, is going to cost $14,000. And right now, they're within about $200 of that goal. Our goals for 2015, we are applying and writing grants That's one of the major ways we can impact funding for the shelter. We've actually applied before the end of last year to the Puyallup Indian Trust for a livestock trailer. Believe it or not, the animal control officers often have to pick up cattle and horses and goats, and the trucks that they have right now just don't suit those kinds of animals. And it's not inexpensive. Livestock trailer and licensing and all of those kinds of things is going to run about $7,000. We haven't heard on that grant yet, but we're keeping our fingers crossed. Just because we applied doesn't mean we're going to get them. We've also applied to the Muckleshoot Charity Fund to pay the printing costs of the upcoming calendar, to make sure that any money we raise goes through to the shelter and we don't have to use funds for the operating expense. We're applying to Petco for a spay and neuter grant. There are a lot of older animals that come into the shelter, older dogs and cats, and of course everybody wants the kittens and the puppies. But if we can pay up front, we meaning Famous, pay to have the spay and neuters done on the older animals, they can then lower the adoption fees and make them more adoptable. So we're applying for a grant for that. We're also applying to the Meacham Foundation for a grant for dog beds. And right now, the dogs are comfortable. They have crates on the floor with lots of blankets. But we're feeling that it might be healthier and keep the animals happier, especially the dogs, if we can get the beds that are raised off the floor, off the concrete floor. So these are the grants that we either have in the works or we're going to push the button to apply for in a very short time. We've also identified some community partners that, by the way, you can help us with too. Amazon Smile is a foundation of Amazon. If you purchase anything online through Amazon, and if you go through Amazon Smile and name Friends at Your Metro Animal Shelter as your charity of choice, a percentage of each of your purchases comes back to the charity. And that's true for any charity you may wish to choose. Fred Meyer Community Rewards works the same way. And I can add that we didn't get a lot, but we have already gotten some money from both Fred Meyer Community Rewards and the Amazon Smile Foundation. There are lots of applications out there for walking your dog, but one of them called Woof Tracks, WOOFTRAX, actually is an application you can put on your phone, and when you take your dog out for a walk, you keep track of the mileage, and they give the charity of your choice a donation. So we're trying to get very creative. We are a small group of volunteers. No one is paid on this board, and we have to be creative in terms of the way we raise money. And as I said, we're working on a 2016 animal shelter calendar. The sponsorship for the pages is $250, and so we're hoping to raise quite a bit of money before we even go to print, which will be probably June or July of this year. The proceeds, again, from the calendar, the 26th calendar specifically, will go to pay for the spay and neuter of the older animals so that they can be more adoptable. We're also looking to cover costs for the extra surgeries that are sometimes necessary. A lot of animals come in needing dental work or they have hernias. And again, if we can take care of that up front, the new pet owner doesn't have to right away turn around and have a huge veterinary bill facing them. I know, I adopted, well, in fact, these are two of my adoptees, Charlie and Todd. I now have a third. That's one of the problems of volunteering at the shelter. They grab your heart. But Charlie is a senior citizen. The veterinary is guessing he's probably 15 years old. But he came with lots of issues, and so he's been my money pit. But if we can help offset some of those costs for some of these animals, hopefully people will adopt senior animals. And we're also hoping to pay for some special vaccines to curb the kennel cough that sometimes occurs in the shelter, and also provide additional flea control, which, as you can imagine, is the challenge. You'll see Famous this year at various community events. We'll be handing out information about how people can get involved with us, making presentations. You are the first city council I'm addressing this year, but I intend to do my dog and pony show too, and all the rest in the service area. So it's a lot of information in a short time, but as you can see, we've been very busy and we're going to continue to be busy. Our efforts will not certainly replace the support of Pacific and the other cities in our service area in the short term, and Famous is here really to fill the gaps in funding. But perhaps in the long run, we might be able to be a conduit, because we are a nonprofit, to build an even bigger and better shelter for the animals. So in the meantime, if you could help Famous by spreading the word and sharing the brochure with others, we would certainly appreciate that. And if you haven't adopted a pet, now you know where to go. So I appreciate your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Questions from council?
I just have one. Are there local veterinarians that donate their time to help care for the medical needs?
They don't really donate at this point in time. I know some other jurisdictions have been fortunate enough to have that happen. There is one veterinary in Puyallup that's on contract, and they've lowered their rates on contract. And as soon as an animal is adopted, if it hasn't already been fixed, it's off to the veterinarian. They take care of that. So the adoption fee includes the spay and neuter. But there's one on contract. They're negotiating with a second veterinary in the Puyallup area. But no, I wish, there was a way that they could donate, but they don't. And I noticed the paw on your arm, too. You must be an animal lover.
My kitty died.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Any other questions from council?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. Thank you.